Welcome back to Tatay Time. This is Papaloy.
Papa Ben.
Yeah. And exploring the world of fatherhood. I almost forgot. With philosophy, science, and art.
Every day.
Every day. Ooh, yeah.
Keeping the kids curious for anyone that might be new to the channel. We're two first-time fathers to daughters, and we are just trying to figure this thing out because it is some complicated stuff. We don't pretend like we got the answers, but we definitely have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So we explore those questions today, and I think you had a recent visit with the doctor, and I think that's an interesting topic for any parent because the more grief that your child experiences is going to be something to be concerned about, right? Any grief that extends over a period of time, which allergies tend to do, which happens to run in our family quite a bit. You've had some recent experiences with that, and we want to try to minimize that as much as possible as parents.
It seems like a lot of kids are having allergies these days. I don't know.
We'll explore some sources of why that is. I pulled up some video clips from some sources online. We'll get to those a little bit later.
All right.
But so your situation is something that isn't uncommon in our family. Do you want to describe what that experience has been?
Yeah, definitely not uncommon in our family. It runs in the family pretty strong. I know our grandparents had it. Some of our uncles or even aunts have this.
Still.
Yeah, still, and some of our now some of us in our generation, and then it happens to be that even our kids are having it. So
I've suffered from eczema as a child growing up, and man, it is terrible. Terrible for self-confidence. It sucks for, it affects your social life because it affects your self-confidence, right? I mean, that's for any developing kid, that's a big deal if it's affecting your social skills or your social interactions.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it a few episodes ago, if I remember. Like even how you started with your diet, right? It all boiled down to that experience that you had with asthma. My asthma is a different form of asthma. It's different, but
sure, skin asthma.
Yeah.
But apparently it's all related, and that's kind of what one of the sources that I'll play back later is one that had a big influence of making me decide to try the plant-based lifestyle 100% because of one of some of these sources that we'll listen to later.
All right.
But it's a different kind of suffering when you have to scratch your skin constantly and your skin is bleeding, and like my entire back was terrible with eczema back in the day, and I would be so embarrassed to take off my shirt anywhere. Like I never wanted to go to the swimming pool. Like the beach was like not something I wanted to go do. You know what I mean? So
you can't be like naked in terms of
it's
your
not
upper
something
body.
I dreamed about at all. I mean, you don't have any perspective of self beauty when your skin looks like a fucking reptiles shedding shed skin or something like that. It's not fun, man. And then you go through trying all these ointments. I don't know how many doctors I've seen throughout my life that have given me pills and ointments and rubs and whatever, and obviously I needed a different answer because none of those things for me in the long term had worked. And of course, along with the skin asthma, you get bad acne and things like that, and so those are some of these things that are triggered with environmental issues, environmental pollutants. And of course the food, because a lot of these environmental pollutants are in our food, right? So that's like a whole ecosystem of problems, and it's been giving more and more of our generation's allergies, and that's why it's on the rise.
Yeah.
A lot more people are asthmatic these days. I mean, so it's a real issue. It's costly because you have to go to the doctor. You have to buy these medicines. You have to buy these ointments. You have these lotions. These certain.
Yeah.
You can't use this and that and this and
Yeah,
that.
the soap alone costs 3 times more than the regular ones. Or
You gotta
maybe 4.
You gotta get the good
Yeah,
stuff.
you gotta get the good stuff.
The
Cetaphil is one of
pH
them.
balanced. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Or-
like vagina shampoo or something like that.
yeah. Damn. It's
Yeah,
expensive. man.
it's expensive, you know, and not just the eczema side, and then you're talking about the acne side, and you're trying to figure out why you're having so much acne in your life, and that's not fun. You're trying all these other different ointments and face stuff for that, and Jesus, man, it's a mess, right? And if you're just constantly worried about your looks, that's a waste of energy. That's a waste of energy.
Yeah,
right?
every day, right?
Every day.
Every day. You gotta
Every day.
you gotta be concerned about that every day. Well, it's worse if you're a girl. I mean, think
I
about
can't
it.
imagine it's better.
My daughter has it. I've seen her suffer through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing she's not that self-conscious yet to be conscious of how she looks.
The vanity.
Yeah.
In our reality.
It's not yet there, but it's gonna get there if
Of course.
the older they get. But for now, it's more of the
Unfortunately.
discomfort of not being able to sleep well.
That's a big deal.
Mhm.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, puts a lot of stress, not just for her, but even for us, because you have to be awake. Oh my goodness! If I can remember, when things flare up, you're gonna be awake like every hour,
Constantly,
every
constantly.
few minutes,
Yeah.
because
So itchy.
she's basically a toddler. She's gonna get itchy, scratchy, so you get scratch.
I mean, even as
you
a-
can't scratch too much because
Yeah.
it's gonna
Sama din yan.
pag naanay wound, and then it might get infected, could
Yeah.
lead to complications, which is
Mhm.
goddamn. So you gotta
More medicine.
rub lightly, yeah. So you gotta put more lotion. Sometimes we give her a bath at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Damn.
You just have to wake up because she can't sleep and she's crying all night. So you just gotta soothe
Yeah.
her body with some oatmeal bath
Yeah.
or.
Does anything like essential oil, like a mint?
I've heard
essential oil?
of
Would
tea tree oil.
Tea tree oil,
I've
yeah.
tried it before,
Uh-huh.
I believe so, but my only problem is that I'm not sure about how or if it's safe to apply to toddlers. I'm not gonna.
Probably diluted.
I need to do more research on that one. Yeah, probably diluted.
Yeah,
you can.
definitely. I mean, anybody's skin, you don't want to put pure
Mhm.
essential oil.
Mhm.
It's got to have some kind of carrying mechanism to be able to absorb into the skin properly or without burning you.
Yeah, and you gotta watch out for allergens. That's what the doctor told me this afternoon. We just went back for a routine
Yeah.
checkup.
What
So
about
allergens? You
must-
gotta watch out, like dogs or cats or dust.
Right.
In your area. So there's so many variables, so many factors to consider that it's so difficult. You got to keep track of everything if you can. Even
Yeah.
your own diet. I mean, the diet of the mom who's breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So my wife has to skip the regular chickens just to rule that out, at least for now. The eggs, you can't escape the eggs, as the doctor said, right? It's everywhere. It's true. It's in the bread. It's in so we stopped feeding her eggs, which kind of didn't make sense actually when we thought about it. Because you're right.
What about organic eggs?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Because those are definitely available here, and if you can afford the higher priced eggs, I would definitely say, you know, I'm plant based, so I don't eat it. But if you are gonna eat eggs and you can afford the higher quality probiotic, you know, no injection kind of eggs, I would say that's a step at least in the right direction. I mean, there are definitely professional, you know, people that recommend eggs. So if that's something that people are choosing to eat, they should definitely go for, you know, those higher quality.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that go into those chickens to lay those eggs, man. Yeah, you don't even want to see that. Oh, you should see that, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's tough too because it's in so many products. Like I said, sometimes it's not even listed.
And yeah, other than that, can't help. I mean, it's difficult to even resist the temptation of what do you call this? Maintaining a strict diet, even for us. I mean, it's a struggle. But the baby, I think, or the toddler, you can introduce more or experiment with different foods. We've tried that. We blend our own vegetables for her every
Yeah.
day. That's every day. You got to do the work, man. You got to
Yeah.
freaking
Make it fresh.
heat it. Yeah, buy from the market.
Kamote,
Tanan, yeah, and then
kalabasa.
you blend it, or at least kuhanin mo sa power, ano siya na?
Yeah. Food processor.
Food processor. There you go. Yeah, and you mix it with rice, so it's different kinds of vegetables every week.
Yeah, you definitely have to change it up. Like if you feed too much kalabasa, apparently they say your kid will turn orange.
Turn orange or yellow. Jesus.
Something, there's like a compound in there that like changes
Wow.
the skin color. Like where is the one that turns your skin purple? I want to eat some
I
of
want to
that.
eat some of that. I want to be purple.
I want to be purple for a couple days. That would be awesome, man. Like, yeah, I want my kid to look like she's purple.
Yeah, or pink maybe.
Yeah.
So you can be like a little pony or something, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome during Halloween. Yeah, it'd be
Yes.
like Avatar.
Be
Like,
the
what do I
little
need to eat to
pony.
look like Avatar?
And
They're like, bro, you need to eat those mushrooms. That's what you need to eat. Start looking like Avatar real quick.
sakto, yeah, diet. And,
But it's you touched on something that it's difficult, and I think that's important to understand that it is difficult, and there's so many factors that are out of your control. But at least one of the things that you have a lot of control over is what's being brought into the house and what's being fed to your kids. So like you're saying, you go to the market and you buy the fresh stuff. You know, you don't want to be feeding your kids like powdered milk, because there are studies to show that dairy with kids causes constipation, and that's something that's been apparently well known for some time. And they're not telling you that in the milk commercials for
Yeah.
sure, right?
it's just got milk.
Yeah, they make you believe, which is an interesting thing to think about too. My mother was recently had a checkup, and there through the X-rays you can see the bone mass, right? Like so you can see over time if somebody's bone mass has deteriorated or shrunken or thinned. So they can see that through the X-ray, and that's what she had. She had an X-ray, and apparently it's very common with the elders that the spine is the first to start thinning.
The spine. Why?
The spine,
Why
yeah.
is it the spine though?
I suppose it makes sense. I don't know for sure, but I'm just speculating that it makes sense because the spine is bearing so much load throughout your life. I mean, it's basically what connects your upper body and your lower body,
Yeah.
right? It's like literally the backbone of your body. So that's my suspicion. And it's a real issue, you know, if your bones are thinning and it's in your spine, and that's why the elders tend to hunch. If you've noticed that about a lot of our elders, even here in the Philippines, and that's an issue as well. And so that's why to maintain bone density is not really about how much dairy you're getting. It's actually about lifting heavy shit.
Yeah.
Of course, you can get calcium from food.
Yeah,
That's
but
definitely something
nothing's gonna
you want to do.
happen if you don't do something, right?
Yeah, if you
That's-
don't move.
Yeah.
If you don't move.
It's not just gonna grow by itself,
Yeah.
or at least strengthen by itself. It needs the
It needs
engine
an
or
external
Yeah,
force.
the external force, the
Yeah.
engine in you, or the fuel in
Yeah.
you to.
Need to move it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for longevity. Apparently, it's a non-negotiable. If you listen to these longevity experts, they tell you that lifting heavy stuff is non-negotiable, and they do it themselves.
Ooh.
They even share their exercises and things
Yeah.
that they're trying to do to maintain their functional bodies.
Yeah. Well, I lift myself every day, and my balls are heavy, so fuck it. I carry
Yeah.
heavy stuff every day.
Yeah, we do. Our head alone is how heavy, right? Like, how much
Yeah,
does the head weigh? Like 8 pounds or something like that, right?
Yeah,
That's
something
a-
like that.
Yeah. So your spine.
Mine is probably 4.
My Neanderthal nutsack is 2 pounds. My head is small, but my nuts are huge.
Yeah, but all that load, man.
Yeah. Those Neanderthal
Shit.
nuts. Look at
Yeah.
all that load, bro.
How much does a sperm weigh, though? I'm curious.
Of a Neanderthal? I don't know.
Or our sperm.
Yeah, our sperm,
Like
I
how what's the measurement for that?
Depends how many days you've been stocking it. Is it old stock or new stock? That might be different.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, it's easy to measure all the one load that you blow,
Yeah.
because that contains maybe hundreds of millions of sperm. And
Sure,
you blow
sure.
a load.
Yeah, there's weight to
So
it,
you
for
can
sure.
weigh it by the gram, or
yeah,
you can
sure.
probably at least have an average.
The milligram.
Yeah. So how much? Even that alone is weight, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
imagine that you're carrying the weight of the world, right?
Right in your nuts.
Even the weight of the next generation, right in your nuts. But,
I got these millennials here.
yeah,
Son, like,
but it's never gonna grow by itself on its own.
Yeah.
You gotta unload that shit somewhere, right? It's the
Well-
same with weightlifting as what
Yeah.
you said. It's non-negotiable.
yeah.
All right, I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to keep your testosterone, man.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Empty your nutsack.
Yeah. Jeez.
It's just back to the basics, man. Lift heavy shit. Empty your nutsack.
Yeah. Keep
Okay,
going.
that's a good fitness routine. I think
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah. Ooh.
But let me pull up a source here. Let me move the microphone.
Oh, you got YouTube there, right? I mean,
yeah.
the one's connected.
I don't know if it's going to record
alright,
the
alright.
system,
Yeah.
the system sound. But this is a source of nutritionfacts.org, and when I was looking for answers for asthma, I came across this website, and Dr. Greger does like meta-analysis of medical journals. Basically, he has a whole team of people, of researchers that are working under him, and they sift through all the medical literature and tries to translate it. So obviously, you should always keep that in mind, that this is how they analyzed it and not necessarily like the definite answer. But that's the great thing about Dr. Greger is he's open to medical changes. He's not. It's like if new data comes out, then he's willing to put that
All
out
right.
there. So
That's
it's
good. Yeah.
he's full disclosure. He is a vegan, but at the same time, he does good research. And one of the videos I came across was this one. So let's go ahead. It's titled "Best Foods to Avoid for Eczema and Exclusion Diets for Eczema." So let's just.
Our story begins in 1928. Here, doctors were realizing how good this oxygen stuff was, though maybe not as good as injecting people with mercury. But a researcher at Johns Hopkins reported a number of cases in which, by omitting eggs, meat, and milk from the diet, patients' eczema improved. Who's going to profit off of that, though? No wonder it took 58 years before it was put to the test. Figuring eggs and milk were the two foods most likely involved in eczema, they excluded them in chicken and beef, since it may just be chicken and cow proteins more generally, in a randomized, double-blind controlled trial swapping in soy milk instead, and 70% of the patients improved. One person got worse on.
Just a quick note on that. I'm not someone that really advocates for drinking any kind of milk. Like you really don't need it at the end of the day. But if it helps you to, like, let's say you want to make more smoothies and buy like a plant milk.
What about Mama's milk?
Yeah, Mama's milk, which is the milk that should be sold in stores. All of a sudden, Siri got interested in that comment of yours, I guess. So anyway, let's go back to the video.
The no egg, no chicken, no milk, no beef diet, but almost everyone else got better. So the researchers conclude that for many kids, avoiding those foods may induce a clinical improvement. And interestingly, it didn't seem to depend on whether allergy tests showed that they were allergic to milk and eggs. Either way, they tended to get better regardless. You can do randomized double-blind food challenges where you give kids with eczema various foods in opaque capsules, like one with egg powder, one with wheat powder. It's
You want me to pause it?
No.
Okay, just let me know.
Yeah, it's good.
etc. And egg was found by far to be the most offending food. For example, in this study where they just cut out the eggs, dramatic improvements were documented for both the amount of skin involvement and the severity of the eczema lesions after removing eggs from the diet. But in about 90% of cases, the mom had no idea that eggs were a problem. Why? Because it wasn't like they were eating scrambled eggs or something. Almost all the egg exposure was hidden. They were exposed to hidden egg products and packaged foods. And so they had no
There you
idea
go.
why their eczema was so bad until this study where they removed all eggs and egg products from their diet.
All right, boss. For a while. Yeah. I was
That's
just
crazy.
talking about with the doctor. I mentioned it right this afternoon. So that's exactly what he told us. Because
Really?
we were telling
Really?
him we just stopped feeding her eggs
Uh-huh.
every day, and he said, "Yeah, but
Yeah, but
the hidden
he gave you the but,
hidden
yeah.
products is
Pero.
doctor. Yeah, it's everywhere. You
Yeah.
can't escape it. So
Which is why it's a good idea to reduce your packaged food intake. In terms of packaged foods.
you gotta prepare it yourself.
Yeah. Not only do you save on the packaging because you're
Mm.
buying less packaged food, that saves on the plastic garbage,
Mm.
but you actually improve your health.
Yeah.
Because you're getting rid of these sources that apparently have eggs, like what they're finding, which apparently they don't have to list sometimes for whatever reason.
And here is the kicker, people, because most dads that I encounter, including myself,
Including me.
we
Yeah.
we rely on the mother or our wives and the feeding process most of the time, because that's what that's how it used to be, right? We just gather food. Bala na din ang mom to take care of the household or so
Okay.
we just delegate that part
Sure.
of the child rearing process or the responsibility to the mother, mostly, which I defer to that decision because she knows better than I do in that department. But knowing if we're gonna have to be strict with it, right? We have to be the one to take charge of it ourselves, or even do the whole the legwork of doing that, because it's gonna take a lot of shit, a lot of time to prepare that. To do experiments. So you said
Oh, yeah.
you can do a double-blind experiment, or whichever, but you can do the whole scientific method with by being strict about it, right? You
Yeah.
record it. You at least we'll try to I suppose we can have a log on and
Yeah, food log.
food log, and just list down everything and try to see a reaction after
Yeah.
a few days, after a few or after a meal. Does it affect her in any way? Know the signs and the symptoms. I know because I suffer from it. But I never really did try this experiment seriously before, since I'm too lazy and I'm repeating the same mistake.
Yeah, I had a good experience in food logs when our daughter was 3 years old, and she was experiencing constipation. And so luckily I was keeping a food log at that time, and I was paying close attention to what was being fed, obviously. So I was able to maybe through the pattern of the food log that she would be constipated by eating deep fried fish for 3 days or more. And actually, I think one time there was 2 days of deep fried fish, and she started getting constipated. But it was regularly happening when she would have like 3 straight days of deep fried fish.
I see. Okay.
And you stop feeding and everything is fine again. So it can help in those ways where your kid might be experiencing some grief, and then you can kind of try to find an answer faster instead of just trying to see what happens. So it maybe, I wouldn't call it troubleshooting exactly, but because troubleshooting is a more complex thing, more technical thing. But yeah, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just like what we're trying to do here on this show.
Yeah.
Just figure The show of fatherhood. Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and food
So-
is very important.
Yeah, and because we have so much control.
Often, maybe dili gaka overlook na to ang aspect of our daily grind,
Yeah.
since that is literally our fuel. Other than air and water, it's an essential component of our survival. And the problem is that our fuel is oftentimes dirty. Let's just say contaminated,
Sure.
right?
Heavily.
So it's gonna fuck up the engine,
Mm-hmm.
everything, all the components in it. It's gonna cascade and
Yeah.
all.
No
So-
doubt about it. But making the effort to the market and getting fresh stuff is not that big of an effort here. Thankfully, where we live, these fresh options are available on the street side, like walking distance from us. So it's easy to go, or even just a kogon. You just go back. I remember when I was transitioning into this and trying to figure out, what am I going to eat. The wife was still working in the hospital as a nurse. So I remember one late night I was standing in the kitchen in front of a wok with a broccoli mix, and then I was cooking, and I had the spoon in one hand, and then in the other hand I had the daughter. She was sleeping. I was like just trying to figure this stuff out. And when you're in transition like that, really convenient options do help, like those pre-powdered mixes. You can still get those, and a lot of those don't have animal additives in it, so it's plant-based essentially. I don't know if they're technically vegan, but those were a big help in transition. And for anyone that is asthmatic and wants to try it, I heavily recommend you get a blender to make smoothies, because those pack a lot of calories, and when you're in transition, you want to make sure that you're still maintaining enough energy just to keep you going, just to be able to function the next day. And the blender really helps with that, especially when you're maybe getting used to the extra fiber in the diet. Maybe you feel bloated, maybe you ate too much vegetables, your gut's not used to handling it, so you might feel some bloating sometimes. But for the asthmatics, this is definitely doable.
Yeah. This is the way. According to the Mandalorian. This is the way.
I don't know if we need to finish this one, but do you want to finish this one, or
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Go
can
ahead.
go to a different one actually.
Yeah. But that was a good point, though, by Dr.
Dr. Gregor.
Eggs are evidently the most frequent cause of food sensitivity in children. Out of hundreds of kids with eczema tested, egg allergy was documented in 2/3 of those with sensitivities. In fact, a child having a blood reaction to egg white proteins appears to be one of the best laboratory tests for predicting future allergic diseases in general. It appears to be the ovomucoid protein within egg white that seems to be causing most of the mischief. About 40% of kids with eczema have some form of food allergy, and the more food allergies they have, the more likely it appears they're going to suffer from eczema and make it worse. Those who react to cow's milk protein are significantly more likely to suffer severe eczema, showing the important role cow's milk proteins may play in the induction and increased severity of eczema in children. Often parents switch from cow's milk to goat's milk in an attempt to improve their children's eczema, but goat's milk should never be given to kids with cow's milk allergy because they often cross-react with one another, which has been confirmed
That's
with
crazy.
double-blind, placebo-controlled food challenges. Ass milk, on the other hand, is a different story. Switching kids to donkey milk improved their eczema, and for that matter, horses' milk might as well.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, dude. They just
I've tried goat's milk, but I haven't fed it to my daughter yet, so...
I forget if it was this video or another video, but there was also a concern that because of these things like skin eczema, it actually increases depression.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember it might have been one of his. That's a big concern as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, imagine as we've mentioned a while ago. Imagine the constant stress that you're gonna have each and every day. The anxiety,
terrible, man.
yeah, the anxiety of having to deal with that, or the perception from the external forces, the outside world.
Seeing people will make you nervous.
Yeah, it's just
That's-
like you're
that's how stressful it
constantly
gets.
watching over your skin and then making sure like it's covered and everything.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a girl. I mean, because we have different standards for women, right? It's like you got to be flawless.
It's
And
ridiculous here. The vanity advertising here is
So
through the roof.
yeah, it does take a terrible toll on the mental aspect of or reality. So that's that. I believe that is 100% true.
Yeah, and if you're someone that doesn't want to do plant-based and you're even doing a carnivore diet, there's one of the most famous advocates for the carnivore, or as he calls it now, animal-based
Animal
diet, doesn't recommend that you even have to take in dairy. So do you want to listen to that? Like,
Sure.
so
I'm
this
interested.
yeah. So you heard from the vegan guy,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can hear from the carnivore MD. That's what he.
Let's hear it from my people here, the carnivores.
There are things that we do agree on. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, so here we go. This is a episode where he addresses the question. He'll say it, but it's about calcium.
All right.
But let's address the question here. Should you include calcium on your carnivore animal-based diet? Why would you not include calcium on your carnivore or animal-based diet? Well, here's the thing. I just got back from Africa, and people asked me, do the Hadza eat bones? They definitely break the bones and suck the marrow, and when you do that, you're getting bone flakes with that. If any culture is going to be eating small fish, like sardines or other things like this, you're going to be getting some calcium in those bones. Some cultures in Africa, like the Maasai, have dairy. They're getting calcium in their diet from that. But for a lot of us on animal-based diets, like myself, dairy doesn't really play well with our immunology, with our immune system, and it causes my eczema to flare no matter what I do, whether it's raw dairy, whatever. So that's just me. I can't do dairy. If you can do dairy, check out colostrum, which is a
Okay, so he's one of the most famous advocates for, and he's a doctor.
What's his name? Another doctor, yeah.
I forget his real name, but the YouTube channel is Carnivore MD.
Okay.
And he's even advocated for milk in the past. If he doesn't take his videos down, which is, so he changes his views as well as he learns more.
Nice.
Which is the great thing about him as well. So there are things that you can still respect about somebody, regardless if you disagree with their practice. So that's interesting to hear, right? Like he's saying no matter what type of milk he consumed, it gave him eczema flare-ups.
Okay.
And that's a significant thing for a guy who is that technical with the literature to be able to say that openly on a mostly animal-based diet,
Okay.
as he calls it.
Animal-based diet.
Yeah, so you don't. There obviously he's saying there are sources of calcium. You can get it from the bones, and things like that, and it is something that's consumed. But I don't know how many people are actually breaking bones at dinner time and sucking the marrow out. And like, who does that? Have you seen
Yeah.
anyone do that? Not lately, and like not every day.
Suck the marrow out of the bone when we eat bulalo.
Yeah, but how often is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not me.
it's
I mean,
not
some
every
people
day,
do
right?
it. Some people
So-
eat it every week. Some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
have a
let's
steady-
say you did it once a week. That's
Yeah,
still not enough.
Me
right?
once
Like,
every few months, maybe.
Yeah,
For bulalo.
it's even when I was eating meat, it was not something that we did all the time.
After a
and-
heavy drinking session.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
always
yeah.
good, man. Whew. No wonder heart diseases are increasing in the Philippines, or maybe the rest of the world too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We just fry everything over here.
Yeah, that's it. Good stuff, right?
We fry the fruits and the meat. But if you want strong bones, you don't need the dairy.
I see.
You don't need the calcium from the dairy, because there are other sources. There are plant sources. There are meat sources. So dairy from childhood to adulthood is just something that we don't need. So the deception to my mother, which is something that makes me very upset about the reality that we live in today, is that people are allowed to believe that it actually is good for them. You see any Milo commercial, you see any whatever yogurt commercial or whatever, doesn't matter what company it is, regardless if they're advertising for milk, it's all bullshit. You don't need it. You don't even need soy milk. Don't even have oat milk or almond milk. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't need it. That's it. That's all there is to say.
Just drink some beer, man.
Just drink some beer.
You need it every night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true.
It's more. At least it's less wasteful because it's in glass bottles.
Yeah.
Not like that packaged shit that comes in plastic bags.
So the milk that they advertise, because when I go to the supermarket and I saw like almond milk, my perception is always like this shit could be healthy or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
Guess. It could be.
But I don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. No.
Really?
No, you don't need
What's the best alternative? Like
water.
just
Like
water.
electrolytes? I don't know.
I see. All right.
Like
yeah.
none of that. You don't.
Coconut milk, maybe.
Yeah. There you go. You get some coconut milk.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, ginatan bay. Woo. Get some of that. Definitely. Or you get some botong with mangoes. Oh man.
But almond milk tastes so good. I don't know for some reason.
Yeah.
It just tastes so good.
It's designed that way, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not naturally probably that delicious. Probably if you made it homemade, like
it wouldn't taste that
Probably
good.
wouldn't taste that. There's all kinds of stuff added to almond milk, to soy milk, to whatever milk. You're buying milk off the shelf in a grocery store. There's something added to it to make it sweeter.
Yeah.
I had. It was funny because we'll talk about more about the Manila trip, but we were in Manila, and then I was telling the daughters I used to eat these strawberry Kellogg's cereals
Every day.
Before. So we bought like a small box, so she wanted to try it because it's strawberry flavor. That's what she likes. So I we opened the bag and I eat some. I was like, whoa, dude, that tastes like candy. I was like, was it always that sweet?
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
Maybe they
man.
made it sweeter.
Maybe
now.
they made it sweeter. I was like, wow, I can't believe it was like a sugar rush in my mouth. Whoa, like woke me up.
Yeah,
Wow.
some of the candies that I've tried from my niece, it is so overwhelming. Even I
Yeah.
couldn't finish it. I used to love. I still eat candies, but not that much.
I don't eat candy. But
Yeah,
dude.
maybe
Bad for
once
your teeth, bro.
once every few days, but I can't take it anymore, man.
Yeah.
It's like my body's telling me every time I eat shit like that, especially candies, like this is just too much, like too overwhelming. The sweetness of this.
Sikit tayo ng TL. You're like,
Mm,
damn,
or-
that
whoa.
toe hurts again.
Whoa. Yeah. Hits different now, right?
Yeah.
Even with beer, I mean, I could consume at least 2 liters before. Now that's not gonna happen, man. I ain't waking up
2 liters
right
of
after.
beer?
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
drink that
No
much.
way. I can't.
No
I
way.
can.
It's more for leisure now and
Yeah.
just relaxation.
I apparently became allergic to beer. Last time I drank it, I started wheezing. I was like,
Damn.
whoa, this is not good. I'm not drinking this stuff anymore. Goodbye.
But yeah,
One thing that carnivores and people who promote a whole food plant-based like myself is that we can agree on is that you need to eat less processed food, less packaged food. Just make it fresh. Like he advocates this thing for nose to tail. It's like you eat the whole thing, the bones, like what he's saying. Get your source from bones. But no, the majority of people are not living like that. They're not eating like that. We go to the grocery store, we get our fruits, we get our vegetables, we get our meat, we get our fish. Most people that are living in these developed areas are going someplace to just buy their fish. Whether it's the market or the grocery store, it's like we're not processing all the bones at our house and stuff. So either way, you can do supplements. One thing that planning to do for the next segment is how to stay like plant-based when you're traveling. And that was a challenge, as a family to still maintain like a whole food plant-based approach to your travel. It's not the easiest thing, but thankfully, if you do things like time restricted eating, it makes it a lot easier to do those things. But there are available options, so I'll talk about that next time, but not this time.
Or at least there are options.
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, you just gotta have to at least try and learn about it, or do the necessary research, and then try it yourself.
Yeah, I think just mentally, I think one way to get to think about it is, why is that food so cheap? Like why do you think the fresh food costs so much more than that bag of chips? And, like, there are reasons for that. So if people are not sure how to start, even thinking about it, maybe you can start there. Just kind of like look where you go buy your food, and notice the prices of these junk foods, and think about why they're so cheap. Look at that label, man. Like, can you pronounce half that stuff on that label? Like, you need to go back to the fruits and vegetable, even though it costs more. It costs more because the shelf life is lower with produce, right? That's a big part of why that junk foods can sit on the shelf for months. If you're buying bread from Gaisano, my mother keeps buying bread from Gaisano. Dili kaya mamolds. Yeah, just eat less of that stuff, man. It's better for the environment. It's better for everybody's health. This hidden egg kind of stuff. That's madness, dude.
Yeah,
People are getting reactions from that. That's delicado bay.
All good.
They have a serious reaction. That's not good.
Because we just need to eat because it tastes so good.
Yeah, the exposure to allergies is noticeable, because my mother used to have a part-time job in the school district, and they had so many cases of allergies that they would keep EpiPens on standby at the schools,
just in case.
They had them ready, and they used them. They weren't just standing by for they're using them. So even back then, maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was already a noticeable difference. How much more now? I mean, so we notice it in our family. The allergies are rampant globally, and there are some correlations. I don't know if they actually can say it's a cause, like the developing areas are the ones that are experiencing increases in allergies.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. The problem is that we, as the caretakers of our own progenies, or our own offsprings, are feeding our own addictions to them.
Oh yeah,
That's how I see
diet
it.
is inherited.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
I'm feeding my own addictions to the next generation.
That's also literally because the stress can change your DNA.
Everything. And I'm not just talking about the addictions to the kinds of food or everything, even the addictions to our own let's say lifestyles, or how we are shaping this reality, this world. Consumerism, let's just say, the idea of that lifestyle that we're living right now is we are passing it on to the next generation, which I understand, because most of us, including myself, are oblivious to the effects of our existence here. So yeah, food is a part of it, everything. But then again, we are, as I've said, feeding our own addictions to them. Like, we are addicted to this reality right now, and we are just living and not really deeply, at least contemplating on what exactly are we trying to feed them over in the whole scheme of things, right? And I think it's a good practice for all of us, we take a pause, at least so we can contemplate on it on a daily basis if it needs to be. That's the problem. That's my problem too. Like I just go on with the flow, go with the flow, go with the herd, go with what's natural, as we say. Well, what's good or what's bad or. But I mean, I need to spend more time, at least contemplating on that aspect of it. Like what exactly am I trying to achieve here with there are ways, and it's difficult, of course. I don't think there's gonna be a solution in my lifetime for sure. I'm just gonna end up disappointed if I just keep focusing on that. It's the self, I think.
The expectation of yourself.
Yeah, the expectations and the results, right?
Yeah, a lot of us put high expectations on ourselves. It's all within our own mind.
Yeah, but to contemplate on that, the discipline it takes is at least good. Like just the way you're contemplating on or even experimenting, way better. Not just contemplating, you're actually experimenting with the plant-based diet, with or doing the whole research, doing the whole the discipline of at least taking time every day
Listening
to
to
learn something new,
experts.
listening to somebody,
Yeah.
listening to
That helps learn when you
Yeah.
listen, when you get to do listening from an expert.
or even
Just-
just questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Every day you can do that. Like when I just sit down and just question some of my motivations, even my own what do you call this, beliefs or non-beliefs or whatever.
Yeah,
So-
and I think to really be able to experience what's happening around you is to lower the level of emotion that you have interacting with your environment. Because if you're reacting to
or
your environment
overreacting
emotionally,
to it.
overreacting
Yeah.
because of emotion.
Yeah,
So-
it's gonna f you up.
Yeah, and I think it's a good endeavor to try to lower. You obviously can't control your emotions 100%, but if there's a way you can kind of influence your emotions throughout your interactions in the day,
Yeah, or influence your environment.
influence
even.
your environment. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in a form of what I call the conscious manipulation of consciousness itself. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just spitting bullshit, but yeah, but the way I see it is like, yeah,
Let it
when,
go,
when I'm
man.
consciously manipulating people, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
Play
too,
mind games.
It's not that difficult,
Uh-huh.
really. Like, but when you just try to at least manipulate your environment so that other people can see what you're trying to convey, a message that you're trying to convey or something, anything, and you just do stuff right with discipline,
Sure.
with careful consideration of your environment or reality itself.
Right.
It's much more rewarding, I think, when you achieve things that way. That's just my interpretation or my experimentation. There you go. With it's as simple as let's just say if you see something like washing the dishes. Let's just say
Yeah.
it's there, right? It's dirt. It's
It needs to be done.
it needs to be done, and if you just have to do it, then okay. I've been called out a million times on that. Like I don't wash my own. Sometimes I forget to wash, and then so
Sure,
it's
sure,
a
sure.
hard process every day.
Your mind
And-
is thinking about something
Yeah,
else.
and sometimes when you're a man, you think like, I'm not gonna do this shit. It should be the wife doing this. You
Yeah.
turn sexist and all that, but no. So why not? If I have to wash
Move,
my own,
woman.
right? If I have to wash my own clothes sometimes, or most of the time, or you have every day,
Yeah.
let's just say,
Sure.
why not? Does it diminish your masculinity? Does it diminish your humanity? No.
No.
But you're just trying some things or doing some task every day to make your environment better so that nobody would complain. But there's things going on. There are factors in there that are hard to imagine. Like if you do that every day or if you do the work by yourself every day, you're gonna get burned out. you're gonna
Yeah.
start asking like, why the fuck am I the only one doing this shit, right? So you start complaining.
Yeah.
You start complaining to other people. That's what happens.
That's when you get a washing machine.
Yeah, that's why you get a washing machine. All that shit makes things
Yeah.
easier. Make things
That made me.
yeah.
They made me think back when I was very active on the mats,
Mm.
and I would before there was like one laundry shop that opened up, laundromat that opened up in town. But before that, I would literally hand wash my geese.
I've seen you do that
Hand
here.
brush and bugat kaya ba? I would never be able to ask my petite wife to like hand brush my geese, because once they're soaked in water, grabe ka bugat ba, and then I have like 3-4 geese I gotta hand brush. That was a bitch, man. I was like, I can't really, even I was na ulaw ko mag, I asked the house help to wash my hand brush my geese. There's like 3-4 of them a week that need to be washed. It's terrible. It's a lot of labor, a lot of work.
But in the romantic sense of the samurai family, have you seen some? Because I'm a big fan of Jedaigeki. That's the
Jedaigeki.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but this is a term that they use for the. If you've ever watched westerns before, the Japan had their own like western thing going on. It's like the Jedaigeki, the samurai films of in the old days. It's still going on till now. There are still some great films about the representation of the wife or your spouse. There is always like the caretaker of your tools, your sword, to prepare you for battle, right?
Yeah.
Like carefully, like kanang yung polishing everything, your
Right.
armor and so they prepare you for battle, even amp you up for at least that's a romantic representation of it. I'm not saying that's what really transpired or happened, but
Kick me in the balls, woman.
yeah. But they're even gonna say the script. At least some of the films I've seen, like they say, like, "I look forward to your glorious death," something like that.
Ew,
Kamay nga na.
holy shit.
Yeah, because
That's
you're
hardcore,
bringing
man.
honor to the
Yeah.
family every time you go
Right,
out there
right.
and do battle.
Damn.
And when you bring honor to the family, the shogun will make sure that your family will thrive. They're not gonna just let you kanang rot in the
Yeah.
dirt after you die. They're gonna reward you if you bring honor to the clan.
Wow.
So
That's intense.
yeah, that's the role of the women there. It's a samurai class.
That's a ride or die girl right
Yeah.
there.
and
Look forward to your glorious death.
I'm sure it happened in the Philippines too.
I
when,
love you.
when we were still a warrior culture.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
For sure. I mean, you would have a high expectation that you're.
I'm not saying women should do that today or kaning in the modern time, but
No thanks. No thanks.
it helps if, let's just say, when you communicate that way to your husbands or your partners, whatever, to just even prep them for battle every day, right? Like I know it's gonna be difficult. I know this is gonna be, but just I'm here. I'll make sure everything is fine and dandy. I prepare you for battle. If you're the one who's like bringing shit in the house, whatever. And that was the modern world. Sometimes it's the wife that works. Sometimes it's the other way around. So who knows? But it's a good way of at least encouraging ourselves, and vice versa. Also, communication from the warrior to the other one, the spouse. You also thank them, right?
Yeah, you honor them.
You honor them. I'm doing this for you or for us, for the clan, whatever.
Yeah.
So it helps. But the problem is that, we lack that. We lack that. I think important aspect of communication. Most of us, I think. I'm not sure with any of you, but I sure need to at least consider that form of motivating our unit. There is a value there that needs to be acknowledged. At least we need to rekindle that fire, that aspect of our unit
As a family.
as a family. Yeah, why not? And yeah, it could apply to anything. Let's say you want to do an experiment. All right, you both work on it. You have to be disciplined, all of us, in doing that. Do an experiment on changing things up, diet, whatever, so you can achieve the mission, right? Or at least complete the mission for now, and then go on with other things after a particular task is done. But then again, it's hard. It's easy to say. I know.
Well, the frustrating thing is that it's
That's the most frustrating thing. We
well,
already have an idea, but it sure is difficult to execute.
well, that's modern life. I mean, our governments are not helping, right? I mean, these, we did we play those clips of disturbing history of Coca-Cola on the
Oh
podcast
yeah, I think
already?
so. I
Did we
think
do
so.
that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we actually uploaded any of that.
Wala pa. We haven't uploaded shit yet, any of the past episodes, but at least after we're done with this, we're gonna have multiple episodes. A bit late, but it's never too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, just scroll back to a few episodes. We talked about, Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah, it was a disturbing history
Yeah.
short documentary about the corruption of Coca-Cola.
I'm not disturbed anymore at this point, but yeah,
There's a lot of disturbing things there about soft drinks. Apparently,
Well,
go check it out.
I just
Yeah,
had Coke.
why was I getting reminded about that? What were you talking about before? That side rant right there, or side tangent.
Oh yeah.
What was that?
I
Yeah,
think
forgot.
we were on the subject of. I'm pretty sure it was about diet, man.
Yeah.
Eggs and all that shit.
Yeah. You wanna take a break?
Yeah.
Or you wanna end this episode?
How many minutes is it?
I'm not sure how. I think we've been going for an hour or so. I'm not sure.
All right.
I found there's you and I both listen to the Andrew Huberman podcast, and we can end out the episode with a highlight. It's on IG Reels, but it's a highlight from the Andrew Huberman podcast. If you don't know about it, definitely check that one out. It can get quite technical, but it's great to see a scientist like trying to make translate research to the general public. So this is you know that already. So. Oh shit! Let me
Much more
refresh.
likely to develop myopia.
Let me do this. We'll probably get more into sleep as we.
Dim lights are much more likely to develop
We'll cut that part out.
in rooms that have a night light or dim lights are much more likely to develop myopia, nearsightedness. Conversely, children that sleep in very dark rooms, so either very dim night lights or complete black, they have a much lower, statistically speaking, a significantly lower probability of developing myopia, nearsightedness. Now, why is that? It's because the wavelengths of light that matter for these melanopsin cells oftentimes can get through the eyelids. That's particularly true for children and people that have thin eyelids. Some people, like me, have very thin eyelids. I've been told this before. Children that sleep in rooms that have a night light or dim lights are much more
Yeah, that was interesting, right?
Yeah.
And, how many kids are out there sleeping with night lights?
I
right
do.
now?
We
I
do.
did. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Now you don't.
It's pretty common. No. I try to encourage the daughter to, we gotta make it as dark as possible. I try to explain to her it's good for your brain, for your sleep. I don't try to I can't explain it technically, so I'm not even gonna try. But it's like I understand what he's saying. He's saying basically make it as dark as possible
All right.
in the nighttime. Because there are people who have thinner eyelids and things like that, so it disrupts your sleep when you have light sources on in the room. So as much as possible, get dark curtains and turn off your air conditioner light at nighttime.
Even that minute light.
Even that,
affects-
yeah.
Okay.
Our daughter, she wants to keep a nightlight on, so I instructed her, you have to cover it with something, so I make her cover it. So just as like a really as dimly as possible, something is lit up underneath some cloth, so that it doesn't just shine out into the room. But yeah, even that, I'm like, I would prefer it off, but she won't. Maybe when she falls asleep, usually she falls asleep first, so I turn it off. Whatever.
I see.
Yeah, so you can do that as well. But yeah, we'll find more sources on that maybe in a future episode. But that's something that parents should definitely think about. So.
All right. Just don't be afraid of the dark.
You don't be afraid.
Most of us are scared of the dark. That's the problem.
Yeah, teach your kids to hide in the dark so they're not so scared of it. That's always
don't
a good way.
scare them in the dark.
Don't scare them in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Darkness is our friend.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the boogeyman.
Yeah. Let's take a break, man. All
Yeah.
right, let's
So,
close it.
all right. Are we ending?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. It was an interesting episode. I sure learned a lot about not just in my journey today from the doctor, but even having this conversation with Papa Ben. So I hope we can talk more about our lifestyles or the changes that we are trying, and experimentations that we're doing. Hopefully in the future, and it turns out well. I'm gonna try it for sure. Yeah. Call me out for it if I don't. But
Less packaged food. I just say just start there.
let's just start there. So
Yeah.
again, thanks for tuning in. This is Papaloy.
Papa Ben.
Yeah, and this is Tate Time, exploring the world of fatherhood with philosophy, science, and art again. And see you soon. Thanks.